is up, guys? It's your boy GRC, just checking on the mic. Ooh, we got 30 in here already. It's getting juicy. Couldn't believe how much I posted yield. Oh my God. Okay, first of all, Crypto in the Morning, live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Co-host Sam STOLT, producer Bullish Ox, every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern. And I promise you, today is going to be a I don't know if it's even like people's minds are kind of broken already. So it's not going to be super confusing, but it's going to be super informative. We're going to be talking about the future of crypto a lot today. Sam, that's really all we can talk about is the future of crypto. But Ethereum and Uniswap's numbers beat out every SEX yesterday for the first time, I think, in a while. I don't know the numbers from before, but we were all looking at the Uniswap volume go up and all the centralized exchange volume go down. And it was funny to watch because me and Sam talk about this every day. Sam, we just say faith, like people need trust in some sort. And Richard gained like whatever gold stars you earn, like whatever imaginary gold stars for DeFi, Ethereum, Vitalik, Jack Levin, like the DeFi guys that do smart contracts that are immutable to a degree and that are, okay, we're not going to talk about that with Ethereum right now, but like, you know what I'm saying? Check marks for them, wins for the DeFi team. All these guys that were shilling centralized exchange links are all coming on the team. They're even in the DMs over here for your boy. They're like, what are y'all doing over here? Blah, blah, blah. All my boys got wrecked, blah, blah, blah. Some guys with bigger accounts than me, but they want to know what we know. Push the mic. They want to know what we know sometimes. Richard Hart did a live stream Twitter space yesterday with all the biggest dudes, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And everyone said, Richard, we love you, but you just talk like a jerk, and it makes us not want to like you. And they all said it, and that was the only thing that's really only anything says about Richard, but he taught everyone about decentralized security. He taught everyone why Ethereum is here to stay. Everyone was saying, it's over, it's over. He said, guys, this happens all the time. Chill. He totally went full on GOAT mode yesterday. I was happy to see it. We're going to be playing clips from that. And I'm going to play a video real quick. Sam, we got a little Charles Hoskinson SEC take too. We got some Uniswap Ethereum stuff to talk about. Richard Hart, the man that tried to save crypto, another video we're going to be watching today. Sam, banking giants and New York Fed start 12-week digital dollar pivot. We're going to be talking about Sam. Saw Sam's head do the old. We love that. Crypto in the Morning, every single day, guys. 11 a.m. Eastern.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 top, but still you gotta learn how to keep it. With the real and double the stakes.
Yo, mad respect to people who take the time to put those videos together. They're awesome.
Make a living.
Yes, those videos.
Because he does those like 60-minute videos on whatever's popping, like in 60 seconds, and they're so good. And guys, my co-host Sam Stolt, GymRatCrypto here. Sam, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. You know, this is at that pivotal point that's very close to the bottom, because my mom called me yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, I heard about the FT something going on in crypto. I know you're really big into crypto. I want to make sure you're okay." And then today, I'm at the post office this morning, and the guy at the post office is like, "Oh, did you hear about the FTX something that's going on right now?" When everybody else understands that there's fear getting put out into crypto, like Joe Schmo at the gym who has no idea what's going on, my mom, somebody at the post office, they're like, "Oh, crypto bad," right? Then it's probably a very good buying opportunity.
Yeah, they're telling you to get out of crypto, but that's because they don't know what crypto is. They know what fake crypto is. They know what CeFi is. They know what banks and propped up marketing and leveraging the personality of absolute scumbag sex orgy cultists. Whoop. I forgot. We're not supposed to say crap like that. But no, but everyone was messaging me yesterday about sex cults and parties at the beach with SBF. And I just said, there's no way. My brain, like I was just like, I can't even imagine these guys interacting in such a way. But it's that bad. It's that behind the scenes. They're propping him up on the media. Pay attention. Why are they propping him up? Why are they trying to protect him? On the media, pay attention close over the next couple of days. You'll see them highlighting some of the good things about SBF. It ain't so bad. He's not that bad. Sam, I promise. I'm the mainstream, super mainstream, not our media stuff. This is like nuanced media, Sam. Like, you have not looked at real media in 27 years, and neither have I. But people were pointing these videos out already. They were sneaking up. They had these slight narratives of him having gotten the worst end of this deal. And, no, I swear.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
It's just, and I said, is it this bad? Is it this bad? I want to be done with this subject, though, like as far as talking about any kind of stuff at Bahamas or whatever he's doing. Please, but give your take on that before we go, but without any of the evil words in there. But what is your take as far as media propaganda better than anyone? You understand it. You saw it when you were a kid. You were over it then. What do you see now as far as is the media lost 95% of its power? Or because that's what it feels like for me, but I might just be out of the loop.
Well, I mean, you see, on the political side, you also see cheating, right? In the midterms that's taking place, right? And specifically, the first thing that comes to mind is Arizona. And you see the media purporting one side. You see this stuff right around Sam Bankman. You and I know, and other people are waking up every day, that mainstream media doesn't have, and they are literally the right arm of the narrative pushers. They don't have any credibility.
They have money. They just will do anything for money.
Yes,
because they're wrecked
completely. And the more this happens, the more people wake up and realize that the mainstream media is an effing joke. The government is literally the largest corrupt organization in the world, right? It's the cartels, it's fucking Russia.
They'll see users, because where do the users go? I no longer work, and I provide media every single day on the internet for free, and there's more of a value prop in that than there is for those whole entire companies. For guys like me, to get involved, if I were to get involved in a company like that, I would never, ever in a million years. Worst case scenario for me would be walking into one of those places, be I'm looking for a job. That would never make anything happen in this world positive. So it's just remember, like, this whole media thing is changing. I can't even go on the TV anymore and watch sports. I don't even know how to watch sports anymore. Like, I have to have Bullish like pull up counterfeit streams for me, just so I'm like, dude, what, can I just watch it? Like, I don't even know how to pay them. Like, sometimes I will pay, and I'm like, I don't know where to put the money, and I'm not spending 10 minutes doing this. 0%. Like, I want to watch the sport, but Jesus, like, make it happen. Someone else. I don't want.
Bro,
It's all crumbling. It's crumbling. It's all like I can't even pay them.
Try sending a wire. Like, if the people who are watching, but I know have more context for you, but like, try sending a wire transfer. It is like, if you do it 100 times, it's not bad, but like, that's just because you have the familiarity with a cumbersome process, but it's still a cumbersome process to do a wire transfer, and asking, all this crazy information plus all the extra costs inside. There's a cost to send the money, and then if I'm transferring it from one of my accounts to another account, then there's a cost for me to receive the money. Even if I'm sending $100, it's $25 to send it, and then it's like $15.
And there's value in sending those things too. I've had people ask me to send them. People that have money, people that they're wrecked, they're just normal. They ask as an avenue.
We're losing some audio here.
They, there's what Sam's saying is, I've never done it, but what Sam's saying is, if you do a wire, you have to ask middleman D all day long, and then you can have some sort of transparent kind of like cash flow between that unit of accounting. I don't know how they do it.
It's like, think of like this in relation to sending transactions on Bitcoin, except for there's less certainty the transaction is going to go through. So I send money from a wire to somebody else, whether it's myself or a third party, and I receive money from a third party to myself. Now, you can get confirmation that the wire went through, right? And they'll just be like, oh yeah, the wire went through, right? But then you have no idea, like most of the time, domestically, it can come through within one day, right? But sometimes it comes through the next day, and sometimes it comes through even later than that. So it's kind of like sending a Bitcoin transaction.
You can't even bring cash to the bank on the weekends. I remember I was like, there's a bank that near where my parents live, so I went over there and I was like, brought a big stack of cash. I was like, I'll put it in the bank. I was like, oh, I totally forgot. The bank's not open. Like, I just did it because it was convenient at that moment. I'm sure you can, like, how else do you put? I don't know.
Literally yesterday, I'm looking at my accounts, right? Because I'm getting ready for my accountant to center everything, and I'm like, why am I getting charged $6.95? So I emailed the banker. I was like, bro, because I set this up 2.5 months ago. Why am I getting charged $6.95 per month? And he's like, oh, it's a convenient feature. We'll make sure that your account's paying attention to it for fraud. And I was like, you're going to fucking do that anyway. I don't want this. You never told me about this. This better be off of here. I'm closing my accounts with you guys. Like, what? Like,
dude, I'm stressed out about all my money, to be quite frank, and not necessarily my crypto. Like, I'm not necessarily worried so much about my crypto, other than I don't want to take it out because I'm like, that's where I want it to be. So, and that becomes problematic because now I have a horror money on crypto, and I'm like, I don't want to take it out. I don't want to take any of it out unless there's a huge move. Like, I'm not just going to take something out and eat taxes and do all that shit. But I will hoard crypto and be broke in human life. I will do that. I don't mind doing that. That's actually kind of gives me a little bit of spark for living. Real quick, Matthew Mack, thank you for the chat. Shout out to GRC for his recent AMA participation with RH regarding Zen. First of all, just highlight, I never brought up Zen. I wanted to ask Richard about Hex, but he brought up Zen and slandered me immediately, but I still love RH. Though RH is biased, GRC was humble and objective. RH, not so much, nor were his responses logical. I love both Hex and Zen. And okay, everyone in the chat's going to freak out because he says they weren't logical to you. His points weren't logical to you, but you have to remember the audience that he was speaking to doesn't understand like the token dynamics and the math equations of nor does he know if I know that, nor do I know if he knows that. And so the whole conversation was pretty much like, I was like, RH, please tell us what you know so I can learn. At first he told me I'm getting everyone wrecked, but it was just basically RH saying, we have a more efficient system. I think that's less efficient. Every dollar that goes there, it takes away from mine. And I totally understand that perspective. I totally understood. And I never thought it was a big deal that he said it. And I thought it was normal. And I was glad to know that he's just going to stand by his product, and that's just going to be that. Big props to Richard Hart for actually being willing to talk about anything. Like, he didn't have to mention anything, but whatever. I thought it was awesome. But Richard's been doing a great job lately. And I want to highlight his successes more than I want to say any negative about my bags. Like, so, but first, before that, this is going to open up the room a little, Sam. You know how we got to let's get back to baseline with some Charles for 5 minutes. Charles came out a few days ago. This wasn't the one that we watched before. This was like 2 or 3 days after that. He doesn't do these often about specific things. I'm telling you, this is when it's big. But he really highlights regulation and the real point, a real adult conversation about regulation. And that's what I like to talk about. It's fun. I don't want to talk about price action all the time. It hurts my head. It makes me feel shit. I just want to talk about what's going on and see if we can make the world a better place. So let's watch a little bit of Charles. He's a fan favorite here at Crypto in the Morning.
The cryptocurrency protocol developer. You need this plus if you look to things like a exchange or a trading desk or something where you have a fiduciary responsibility for other people's money. It's axiomatic, and it's the first thing you do as an entrepreneur. Now, the absence of this doesn't necessarily mean that you're
Sam, I mistimed this one. I was a minute ahead. I must have watched it myself. Can we just play it back? Sorry, guys. Love you. Hey, let's please smash the like. Hit the subscribe button, guys. I have a lot of cool videos to watch today. I have a tweet. I'm going to drop it below. Is there an audio issue?
Nope, the audio seemed to be fine. If you guys don't know, your audio has been cutting out as in you speaking, but the video was fine. But your audio as an individual speaking had cut out a couple of times. There's loud switch noise coming through. There isn't right now, but
oh, you know what, Sam? I think my mic might have gotten unplugged.
So let's play this video, and you can plug that back in.
No, I think it's plugged in now. Does it sound better?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just play this video, guys. Sorry about that. I'm going to drop the tweet below. Make sure you're smashing the like. We got a lot going on today. Let's get it. And Producer Bullish threw up a lot this morning. So,
and also the FTX issues. As many of you know, FTX has collapsed. It's declared bankruptcy, and it's going to be unable to honor its obligations. It went from a crypto empire that spanned from Solana and Polygon all the way to Masari and everything in between, to basically a existential threat to the stability of the cryptocurrency ecosystem in about 48 hours. Now, in hindsight, in reflection, there were enormous warning signs ranging from the talent that was at FTX to the governance of the company to the fiscal strategy that they followed, how they invested their money, where they chose to deploy it, the statements that they made in reflection, they don't look so solid. And this is generally what happens when you have regulated businesses that are in a position of trust led by kids who have no experience. You know, it's okay to have young entrepreneurs, and it's okay to have inexperienced people have great visions and dreams and pursue those things. But the first thing that happens when you're a young entrepreneur, because I'm still young and I was very young when I entered this industry, is that once you're given money, you have to bring together a diverse team of people and have that team of people work with you to build something great. If you look at IO, my CFO has over 35 years of experience on Wall Street. He was chief operating officer at Mizuho. He was personally responsible for hundreds of billions of dollars of various commodities and other things at the trading desk he was on and the regulated financial institutions he was at. He's a very experienced guy. General counsel, is a JD MBA, a senior partner at a law firm when we hired him, and went to Wharton, went to many places. He did the Overstock stock offering for crypto, did a lot of stuff. and is one of the domain experts in the merger of traditional law and cryptocurrencies, as well as the regulatory intersection. Within our circle, we have advisors, external, internal, and people that have lifetimes worth of experience on strategy, marketing, operations, and everything in between, who have been accountable for billions of dollars. We're not a regulated business. We're just a cryptocurrency protocol developer. You need this plus plus if you look to things like a exchange or a trading desk or something where you have a fiduciary responsibility for other people's money. It's axiomatic, and it's the first thing you do as an entrepreneur. Now, the absence of this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fail or not be able to survive. You can certainly find ways to rise to occasion, but it's definitely true that on average, if you need surgery, it's probably a pretty good idea to go to a qualified surgeon instead of somebody who stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. And too much of this has happened in the industry, whether we look at Celsius, whether we look at Mt. Gox and the qualified people there or lack thereof. We look at any of these institutions that have failed. Generally speaking, when you look at it, it's a people, procedure, and process problem as much as it is a flawed business idea. Standards, regulation, and oversight do tend to help from the perspective of forcing you, either through soft power like SROs and memberships, and hard power through explicit regulation, in getting at least to that statement of safety. It is important to point out that this was not an unregulated business. And there's been enormous amounts of discussion about, well, how should cryptocurrency react? Look at the unregulated cryptocurrency. This is frankly a centralized business failing. Bitcoin was not hacked. Ethereum was not hacked. Cardano was not hacked. None of the big chains were hacked. Crypto didn't fail. People failed. People in positions of trust. At the end of the day, as much as we like to believe in the principles of cryptocurrency, this had everything to do with people putting their money in centralized exchanges and organizations entrusting centralized businesses to do something on their behalf. That's the very industry we're trying to get rid of with the cryptocurrency space. Unfortunately, it's going to now be conflated, and there's a very high possibility that the fallout of this will be new legislation. Hopefully decent legislation, but there's a strong possibility that it won't be. As members of this industry, we're just going to have to live with it, and we're going to have to figure out ways to integrate and deal with it. But this is unfortunately the consequence when you have people who don't know what they're doing get into positions of power and trust and create cascading and catastrophic damage. This is just the tip of the iceberg. If you look at the financial relationships that FTX had, as we go down the list, it could create a cascade of insolvencies. And unfortunately, crypto doesn't get a bailout. Our competitors do. TradFi lives with that every day. They'd already be calling up their buddies in government saying, how big of a check can we haggle over? With crypto, we don't get that. We just get the privilege of cleaning up the mess and then being blamed for it and
Buying
having to deal with
bottoms.
the financial outcome ourselves. Now, I do believe this is not going to kill cryptocurrency. I do believe that our industry will be much stronger in the future. And I do believe that our best days are still ahead of us. This said, I do believe that unlike Mt. Gox, unlike Celsius, unlike Luna, and past events, FTX does have the unique property that it could end up being the straw that breaks the camel's back and changes, at least in the short to midterm, how cryptocurrencies work in America. In particular, changes the appetite lawmakers have for giving the industry a pro-growth freedom mandate. We could look at a world where non-custodial wallets are no longer permitted in the United States. We could look at a world where every cryptocurrency except for Bitcoin is labeled as security.
Did you hear what he just said?
Sam, I want you to open it up. I love Charles, by the way.
And so for anybody who's not familiar, Charles is the founder of ADA, the Cardano chain, right? Giant blockchain, tons and tons of support over there. slower to like adopt things, but in an intelligent, thoughtful way of moving forward. But what did he just say? That potentially non-custodial wallets, so that means a wallet at your house, could be illegal in the future. Right? We can play back from that. That's not good. That means we leave the U.S. Right? That means we're pieced up out of here. Maybe you guys can't, because that's the stories you tell yourself, right? But like people who don't have to do the things that you do and the stories that you tell yourself, like me, I can just leave. And I can leave the U.S., especially if they change the rules. They're like, oh, what you're doing is legal. Cool. Bye. Right? Like that's not a good thing for America as a whole. And it's not a good thing for crypto at all. Let's go back a couple seconds in that clip and rewatch what he said there.
And he's playing devil's advocate too on both ends. And that, Charles, and all the guys that are talking crap about Charles, frankly, you're in it. Stop. Like, just stop. Like, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to talk crap about Charles, especially during a video like this at a time like this, when he's trying to bring some clarity to a space full of children. And he works long and hard because he knows the road is long and hard, not because it's quick. And you can never beat hard work and long-term scaling and thinking on your feet and being a passionate person. And that's why I like him. That's exactly why I like him. And I think everyone that says he's wrong is frankly just undereducated. And his product dropped 99% and hit all-time highs the next cycle. Very interesting. I thought that's what you guys liked.
And forced to comply with onerous regulations, which will rob them of liquidity and not provide any consumer protections or investor protections. If you believe that they do, I will remind you that a huge amount of tech stocks are down 90% this year.
Oh, hold on. Let me back it up just a second.
Madoff ran a regulated entity. Particular changes the appetite that our industry will be much stronger in the future. And I do believe that our best days are still ahead of us. This said, I do believe that unlike Mt. Gox, unlike Celsius, unlike Luna, and past events, FTX does have the unique property that it could end up being the straw that breaks the camel's back and changes, at least in the short to midterm, how cryptocurrencies work in America. In particular, changes the appetite lawmakers have for giving the industry a pro-growth freedom mandate. We could look at a world where non-custodial wallets are no longer permitted in the United States. We could look at a world where every cryptocurrency except for Bitcoin is labeled a security and forced to comply with onerous regulations, which will rob them of liquidity and not provide any consumer protections or investor protections. If you believe that they do, I will remind you that a huge amount of tech stocks are down 90% this year. And I will remind you that Bernie Madoff ran a regulated entity. So don't believe for a moment that additional regulation, if blindly applied, is going to solve any particular problem for the industry. But now that is a possibility. It is also a possibility that we could see a mass consolidation of the regulated infrastructure in this industry towards the hands of just a few players who will then form an oligarchy, which is not possible to displace and will basically end the American cryptocurrency marketplace as we used to enjoy it. Now, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm saying that the probability of these types of things happening is now greater as a direct result of the failure of FTX. The reason being is that unlike Celsius and Luna, the principals at FTX had a direct relationship with many politicians in Washington, D.C. Already on Twitter, you may have noticed many pictures of politicians, mostly on the left, but some on the right, and Sam Brinkman and his cohorts. He made no small deal out of the fact that he was dumping millions of dollars into elections and into influence and lobbying to try to push through specific legislation. That meant that there are a lot of politicians who now don't want to have that relationship, and as a result, will probably try to scrub it by becoming unnecessarily harsh on cryptocurrencies as a predictable reaction. That's why the needle's moved a lot. In addition to the consumer losses that are going to occur, the institutional losses that are going to occur, and potentially the set of cascading failures that can occur. This industry doesn't seem to have learned its lesson. The YouTube podcaster class that mock the Cardanos of the world and talk about how stupid we are and how small our TVL is and these types of things, they continue to be.
I'm not supposed to talk about the comments at all, Sam, but I would like you to just say this once. Like, Richard, his product aside, which has done great price action wise, which is unique, which is he built a layer 1 from scratch, which is insanely crazy. He used to work on the Ethereum team. What do you think about this? Him saying these 10,000 words for 1,000 words? I feel like every word he says has great description and makes a lot of sense, and it helps me understand what's going on a lot better.
Yeah, there's some people prefer like a very, very short, simple answer, and some people also like a little bit more of the detail on this and like talking about it. So there's value on both sides. It depends on where you sit on that spectrum. Like, do you want to be on the one side or the other? Like, doesn't seem like this is a ordinary or commonplace thing for Charles to do. He doesn't seem like he's necessarily, in front of the camera being super charismatic or anything like that. This is just coming off of like this dude's smart. He created Cardano, right? Like Cardano's massively successful.
From scratch. Like, why didn't he just fork ETH? Like, okay. Like, no. Like, you can't just say that every time. Like, that's not fair. That's not cool. That's not innovative. That's not the future. Charles has given it a good shot, and he's been around for a long time, and we like the guy. But I hated this dude for a long time because all the Hexicans told me to. And I didn't have anyone else to defer to at the time. I was kind of like, I got to pick and choose what I study, right? Like, like at some point, if everyone's saying the dude is like an idiot, then I'm just going to be like,
well, what do you take now, right? Because that tends to be.
I think he's the future. I think he's one of the future. Hope to God, he's one of the future pillars of crypto. He seems like one of the only reasonable dudes left in crypto, and I don't think he would ever do anything remotely wild, like leverage trade everyone else's money or anything of these sorts at all. That's rare. I need that. I need these guys really bad to step up because I can't do it. I don't know how.
And people like Charles, people like Vitalik, they put out information, and they are OGs in the space. Charles, what's his face? Richard Hart also puts out stuff every once in a while when he's not like doing whatever the stuff he does do. And you can try to listen to them and pay attention to, because they have a lot more experience, and learn from what they know. Learn from how they're talking about things, because they have a shitload more experience and know a lot more and have a different perspective on things like this.
This dude created the space, man. Like,
right.
And it's just, he
was on the original team of Ethereum.
And just like you guys get upset when no one listens to Richard because of the stuff he says in between, I listen to Richard, and I don't like the stuff he says in between because I'm not an idiot, and I know Richard can say whatever he wants. So I'm not just gonna like, oh, I don't listen to that guy anymore. He said penis. Like, no, I say penis too sometimes. So it's important to say, take what you can from these guys, but I don't have to invest my life savings in anything that he does. Probably not a horrible idea if she's down 99 like last cycle, but but I have no idea. I haven't looked at Cardano in a long time. But so let's get back into this. I mean, well, I think actually we can move on from that. Is that cool, Sam?
Yes. You had another video that you were going to actually pull up. I don't remember what.
Well, there's a quick video I wanted to highlight. The stream clickbait, Sam, is Richard Hart was right, because he did a great Twitter space yesterday, and I DM'd him. I said, I think you did amazing, and I want to just highlight this one video that this one guy made who was kind of maybe not on the other team, Sam, but he was more in the mainstream media as far as the Ethereum nerds go. I guess that's fair to say, like whatever that is. But he made a little video, and I have a feeling he wants to do a video with Richard pretty bad, because he made this video, and I want to support it because I like guys like this. Look at, I mean, I'm not going to say that I know this dude at all or anything he's done, but look, he's got all his stuff together. At least he is trying to do DeFi stuff. He's trying his best. I don't know enough about him. He might be really successful. I have no clue, but he has lots of followers and stuff. So like, just know, like, I want more guys like this talking about DeFi. I don't want less. I'm not a competition scarcity guy. I hate that. I don't like that. It doesn't push me. And I hate being the best at shit. It's the worst feeling. It's like, ugh, wow. I'm so much more ripped than every other human and you know, not at this moment. Let's be 100% clear. But there was a time where I was like, and you almost feel a little bit like, dang, I thought so at the end of the, but anyway, I want to highlight this video, Sam. I would love if you stop at any point, you have commentary, or we can just play it through. Just let me know. This is Jake Goggin. Oh, hold on. I could have that up. Jake Gaggin, 55.5K subscribers. He posted Richard Hart, the man that tried to save crypto. This was like an hour ago. I just like, so we're just popping this up. Let's check it out.
You can love him, you can hate him, you can worship him, you can despise him. But there's one thing you can't do when it comes to Richard Hart, and that is admit he was wrong, because he was right about a lot of shit that happened in the cryptocurrency space. Let's take a look here at one of his interviews over a year ago, August 2021, talking about Celsius and BlockFi.
If you have money in Celsius, pull it. If you have money in BlockFi, pull it. Or when you never get your money back, don't be surprised.
Bruh.
Bankruptcy. We saw BlockFi go down earlier today, and a lot of people are saying Richard Hart was right. Now, I put out a tweet earlier this week, and I said, Richard Hart tried to save us all. The ones that listened will survive. You can go back. You can just go to Richard Hart's Twitter page, guys, and see some of the videos that he had years ago saying, get your money off Celsius. Get your money off of BlockFi. He called out FTX very, very early. He has been preaching a message of self-custody, not your coins, not your crypto, for years. And I think a lot of people don't like him because he's flashy. He's flashy. You can see right here, I own the world's largest diamond, quickest Ferrari, and most expensive Rolex is made, 27 million charity, 10 million watches, 3 million cards. Richard doesn't read messages or email, but he's flashy. But guess what? After seeing what happened with SBF, I want a flashy billionaire. I don't want a billionaire that's saying they're driving a Toyota Corolla and they're sleeping on a beanbag. I want a billionaire that's flashy, that uses his money, spends his money, gives back to charity. And that's exactly what Richard Hart is doing. You don't want a guy that's sleeping on a beanbag, driving a 2005 Toyota Corolla. He's got billions of dollars. Spend that money. Use that money. Richard Hart was right about a lot of stuff. And I got to give credit to Richard Hart because inadvertently, it didn't really come through Richard Hart, but it came through a hexagon. I had my money on Celsius, a good amount, because I was getting duped by Mashinsky when he was saying that 8% on your USDC, 9%, pennies on the dollar when you really think about it. I had a good amount of my crypto on Celsius. But through a hexagon that followed Richard Hart's advice, he gave me advice and said, hey, get your crypto off Celsius, not your coins, not your crypto. And 21 days before Celsius paused withdrawals, I took 95% of my crypto off of Celsius. So inadvertently, it didn't come directly from Richard, but it came through a hexagon, which came from Richard. I was saved. And we're talking a good amount of money was on Celsius. I took it off, put it into self-custody, and I was saved because I was getting duped for the longest time, thinking that the 9%, the 8%, the 12% of my Polkadot was worth it. I would have lost everything. So Richard Hart gets a lot of shit in this space from a lot of people. He was right. He was right. I'll admit he was right. I think you will probably admit he was right. Comment below, guys, if you think he was right. Say Richard was right. It's trending on Twitter. Richard's always trending on Twitter. He tried to save people from the downfall. He tried to preach self-custody. And I think it's time that people start to recognize that Richard Hart was right about a lot of stuff.
I agree. Straight up, he's given solid information, like telling people to get your
It's really hard to do, say, pull it a year ago. Dude, none of this had happened yet, dude. This was not the same market that it is today.
Right.
Dude, and it was halfway up. And he looked at Mashinsky on live stream and he said, if you have Celsius, money in Celsius, pull it. Because he knew. And that's why I respect Richard. Richard's not always going to tell you exactly who's going to go under. Those couple times he was graceful enough to kind of just get pissed off enough to tell us, because he probably understood the books. He probably could notice it. He knew this stuff was going to happen with FTX. He might not have known the date or the time or the whatever, but golly, he saved me.
If you get into crypto and you have the legacy mindset of fractionalized like reserves, meaning if you have $1 million of people's money and you take it and you borrow against it, like people don't understand that you can go down 90%. So if you don't understand 90% dips and you come in from legacy and you think 20, 30, 40% dips, like that you're okay with 50% leverage, you will be liquidated. And if you're in a company, your company will be bankrupt. That's just in which I guess you build this like experience as time goes on, because you see this happen over and over again, every single cycle, new versions of the same exact thing coming here, trying to do the same exact thing, and they go bankrupt and then they hurt users, period. You want to say hi to Pacific Northwest Hexagon?
Pacific Northwest Hexagon. Good morning, fellas. Where did you get that Hex logo? A Hexagon at the gym gave it to me once upon a time. He gave me a bunch of stuff. I have a lot of stuff of like Hex memorabilia all around this joint. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you so much for being here.
On that note, around Hex, I don't, as you know, we've talked about it here, I don't own a lot of Hex. I own a teeny little bit of Hex. But with the Alex and the dip catcher errors, we'll call them, taking place, human errors, it's understandable, right? Didn't hurt me in any way, shape, or form. But seeing that, two things have changed. And I'm not implementing this right away, but over the next couple of months, I'll probably start to implement what I'm talking about right now, is building a position in Hex. Like, I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm not going to change what I already have. I'm not going to continue to or stop buying more Hedron. But at some point, I'll probably start building a bag Hex, which I wasn't necessarily planning on doing in the current environment because of the trust that was, there, and now it's not. I think Hedron's perfectly fine. I don't plan on like selling any of the shit that I have there. Another is building a bag of Ethereum, right? I think that having a bag of Ethereum separate from everything else is a wise decision to do. And this is all kind of come, like, I've been thinking about this, like, hey, there's fallibility here with Alex, right? And Icosa having a bug here. There is the same exact thing with Dipcatcher. I wasn't affected by either one of those things. I couldn't care less, right? But just from that standpoint, kudos to Richard Hart for having something where there hasn't been any bugs found yet, right? There hasn't been any of those issues yet. Like, that's cool. That's a good thing, right? And then I just like Ethereum. I think that I'm very bullish on Ethereum as well.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, there was a Twitter space with Richard. Obviously, it was extremely long. We can't just walk through all of that, but it was incredible. And somebody just dropped the link in the chat. So if you want to go back and watch that, he goes down in hour 420, I think. And so just understand that he did a great job, and it was a lot of big heads in there talking all that stuff. So Sam, real quick, there's a couple things that we should discuss, but this video just popped. Said Ken Griffin, CEO of Citadel, highlighting one of the darkest details of the entire FTX situation. How dark does this rabbit hole go? I'm not going to lie. That was a great title, and they got me. That's called Twitter 101. That's how you get got. They got me. I don't know.
So real quick on Ken, right? Mm-hmm. Ken Griffith is somebody that I've read about in multiple different books. He owns a hedge fund. He owns a bunch of different things. He is, I believe, the hedge fund that purchases users' trading data from Robinhood so that they can front run everybody. Yeah, that's not what they're saying they're doing, but that's what they're doing. Just to give some context of who this guy is.
Is he a scumbag? Is that what you're saying? Or is he following the rules?
He's following the rules.
All right. That's fair.
But there's a lot of like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yes, he's following the rules, but that doesn't necessarily mean the rules are the best rules in the world.
Yeah, and Richard likes to highlight that SBF pretty much followed the rules too.
Correct.
Like if you look at the fine print, like there are illegal things that maybe happen behind the scenes, but we can't really identify those. Like So let's watch this. 757,000.
That all of us are worried about. You know, on the balance sheet of FTX is a line called Trump lose. And Sam was the second loan that all of us are worried about. You know, on the balance sheet of FTX is a line called Trump lose. And Sam was the second biggest donor to Democratic candidates.
I'm going to leave it to everybody else to draw their own conclusions about what you're saying here.
Right? Those are really, really ugly facts when you see a fraud of this magnitude having played out, and you find no regulators were there to prevent it. That's a really, really.
We should. Can you rewind it to the beginning and replay that part again?
That all of us are worried about. You know, on the balance sheet of FTX is a line called Trump lose. And Sam was the second biggest donor to Democratic candidates.
I'm going to leave it to everybody else to draw their own conclusions about what you're saying here.
Right? Those are really, really ugly facts when you see a fraud of this magnitude having played out, and you find no regulators were there to prevent it.
That's some serious stuff there. And
Pretty serious, man. But like, is it even pretty serious? Like, it seems like it's a joke almost. Like,
yeah, you're right.
It feels like it's a joke to me. I don't know much about the stuff, but like, it all like, if you ask any young dude that has any free thinking ability, like that hasn't really been involved in that life at all, they're just gonna be like, oh, I don't. That's just like I don't care if they're lying or not. Like, it doesn't matter.
He doesn't feel he's disenfranchised. He or she's disenfranchised. They don't think that there's any ability for what they say or do or anything to affect anything because they already know how fucking corrupt it is. Like, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't pay attention to that shit because it's corrupt. Doesn't matter what I say. Doesn't matter who I vote for. They're going to change the votes. They're going to go through and do whatever they want to do anyway, completely corrupt as it is, and they're just disenfranchised, period. It's very sad. It's a bad place to be.
Yeah, it is sad. On a lighter note, these guys know nothing about Uniswap. Thank God. Thank God, right? And there's some crazy things going on. If you really look under the hood with Uniswap, which is actually possible to do, luckily, because you can just go to the stats page on the front end that they publish. And it's just like, okay, great. So Ethereum, bullish, not saying on the price, short term. We could have a V-shaped bottom at any time that completely nukes everything. And that would be lit. We want V-shape at this point, right? We all know what this price action feels like. V-shape would feel nicer, but that's not always the reality, guys. So let's pull this up. And this is one of the best YouTubers this is the best YouTuber on the Ethereum network, the Daily Gwei. This dude comes on an update every single day about the Ethereum network, all detail, all the time. He doesn't cut corners. He doesn't talk S. He loves Ethereum. Well, he does talk a little S, but like he's a nice dude. He's trustworthy, I think. And he does really good content. I don't know why he does content like this. I cannot imagine how hard it is to be on point like this about one ecosystem every day with Vitalik as your information bug. But anyway, he talks about Uniswap, Sam. Some of the Uniswap recent growth has been phenomenal. Okay. What does that mean for gas? I don't know. What does that mean for Ethereum? I do know. Okay. Because people are leaving centralized exchanges and using Uniswap and using those exchanges, which pumps the price. You have to use those exchanges to pump that price. I
just got a update from, this is a couple of days ago, on Uniswap, where I'll be covering another, because they just had an update to their calculator on how to calculate impermanent loss in there. So I have that pulled up. At some point, I'll do a video, hopefully this week, covering the update on Uniswap and what's going on. So if you guys are curious about that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. But let's get into this video.
Yes, we are curious about that. And Sam is one of the leading guys on the internet talking about the nuts and bolts of Uniswap liquidity, providing V3, which is what this internet needs more than almost everything. So.
All right, a couple of updates out of Uniswap Labs over the last day or so. So they put out a tweet saying new users of Uniswap's web app reached a 2022 high. Self-custody and transparency are in demand, and users are flocking to what they know and trust. Let's keep building. And you can see here in terms of daily new transacting wallets, we had a record of 55,550 daily transacting wallets on Uniswap here. This and the Uniswap's web app reached a new high as well. So this is really cool because I think I've gone through this before, but I think that one of the biggest positives of the FTX fallout really is the fact that people are going to be taking self-custody more seriously. I saw a tweet from someone at I think it was TechCrunch who talked to someone from Ledger, and they said that they had their biggest one-day sales in history, I think yesterday or the day before, and that's obviously as a consequence of the FTX collapse. Now, I'm trying to get answers about the Lattice One as well, the Grid Plus Lattice One, from people I know there to see if they had some bigger sales days, which I expect that they did, because obviously the Ledger isn't the only manufacturer of hardware wallets, but this is really positive. This is something that's actually got me really, really excited because we've been talking about not your keys, not your coins for a very long time. We're talking about the importance of self-custody for a very long time, but such is life and such is with everything. People tend to listen once something goes wrong. Like if you look at actually outside of crypto, a lot of the regulations, not just financial regulations, but regulations in general, a lot of the protections put in place, they're usually done after the fact. There usually has to be something bad that happens. Then people are like, oh shit, like let's do something about it. And I think that's what's happening now, where the FTX collapse has basically made everyone aware of the dangers of keeping your funds on entities where even if they seem like super legit, there's there is a relatively high chance of you losing all your funds. So that unless you're an active trader and you need that liquidity on these exchanges, there is literally no reason to just keep it there cold storage. Even the most trusted exchanges, I've gone on record and said that I think places like Coinbase and Kraken, fully regulated in the US, are fine, but I still wouldn't leave my funds on there. I still would rather self-custody because one, there's no point. I'm not an active trader. It would just be sitting there doing nothing. And two, the risk is always greater than zero of these things, going bad. Like not to say that they will, but it's never 0%. Now, that's not to say that self-custody comes with no risks either, but I'd rather remove the risk, the custody risk completely from the equation than have it there, no matter what kind of what platform it is. But one thing that people miss is that your funds being on an exchange aren't only at risk of the exchange becoming insolvent or getting hacked or running off with the money, they're also at risk of the exchange just arbitrarily freezing your funds for whatever reason. It could be that the government has ordered them to freeze your funds because of whatever reason they've deemed. The exchange could be freezing you because they believe you to be involved in criminal activities or something else. They could indefinitely freeze your funds for whatever reason. So those are the two major risks. And I think the second one doesn't get enough attention. So generally, as I've been saying over the past couple of refuels, please, if you are not, if you have no reason to have your funds on a centralized exchange in terms of, as I said, if you're not an active trader or anything like that, buy a Ledger, buy a Lattice One, store your funds on a hardware wallet. That is, in my opinion, is the best way to keep yourself safe. The only thing you really have to do is make sure that you secure your seed phrase. You can even lose the hardware device itself. It could break. It could stop working altogether. But as long as you have your seed phrase, you're fine. Now, of course, that is the single point of failure, that seed phrase. If you forget that the seed phrase, or if you misplace it, or if it if your house catches on fire and you've written it down on a piece of paper and that paper burns up, that is obviously the main risk. But that's why you should practice good seed phrase management. Not just keep it in one place. Keep it. You could split it up like kind of Horcruxes from Harry Potter is an analogy I've seen used, where you split up parts of it with different people. But there are risks inherent with that as well, because you may give it to someone and then and then they lose it and then you don't have all the pieces, or maybe you give it to a few people and they all collude to steal your funds. That can happen, right? So you're never going to be at like 0% risk here, 0% risk of losing your funds, but you want to get as close to zero as possible. And I think that the only way to get there is through self-custody. Even though there are risks associated with self-custody, everything carries a risk. I mean, just living carries a risk, guys. Like if you really want to get down to the brass of it, like just doing anything carries a risk at the end of the day. So it's all about lowering your risk as much as possible.
I'm just trying to like highlight those points as well, like with the self-custody right now, because there's probably guys in here that still don't even, new or whatever. So letting that, and I just wanted to highlight Uniswap's growth really like over this time. And I think it's predictable to a degree because they have to trade somewhere, and there's centralized exchanges are all about trust. And the trust is gone. So that's bullish for decentralized finance, real decentralized finance, real cryptocurrency, Sam. And, there's some things going on. Remember that little title I read about the pivot to, dang it, what was that one article that was popping around? I read it right in the beginning. There was like, they said the New York Stock Exchange pivots to a digital dollar. With what is that all about? Like, well, if you had to guess, or I can pull it up too, I will. I actually have it right here. What is that about? And because it's clearly a popular tweet, like it went all around the internet. So what is that about? And I'll find the tweet right now.
It's the CBDC, which is like the ultimate scam coin or rug pull that the United States is putting together, right? Like China already has their scam coin out. The US is going to come out with their own scam coin. And if it was in real DeFi, nobody would use it. It would be like, yes, this is a scam. Don't ever buy that shit. It's like a Celsius. It's like a Luna. Like, don't be involved with this scam coin. They can F you over. And that's probably what they're going to be testing. I think you have a little bit of a clip of an email from a tweet, I think, that we were going to actually take a look at. I can pull that up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. And I don't really know what that means for anything. It just seems like centralized exchange 101. But if we don't have any custodial wallets, Sam, that's where that gets really tricky, right? Because, here it is. Sweet. I found it. All right. So here it is, Sam, and I'll read it verbatim, and then you can just discuss it one more time, probably for the peeps. And this is from Walter Bloomberg, and he tweeted 2 hours ago. Banking giants and New York Fed start 12-week digital dollar pivot. And it's, let's look. Banking giants and New York Fed start 12-week digital dollar pivot. Reuters News. New York, November 15th, global banking giants are starting a 12-week digital dollar pivot with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Their participants announced on Tuesday. Citigroup, INC, blah, 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 MasterCard, Wells Fargo are among the financial companies participating in the experiment alongside the New York Fed's Innovation Center. They said in a statement, the project, which is called the Regulated Liability Network, will be conducted in a test environment and use simulated data, the New York Fed said. The pilot will test how banks using digital dollar tokens in a common database can help speed up payments. What? Speed up payments. Earlier this month, Michelle Neal, head of the New York Fed Market Group, said it sees promise in using a central bank digital dollar to speed up settlement times in the crypto. They're focusing on that speed up. That seems to be critical to them.
Well, because so the other day I did a wire transfer, and it was a Friday afternoon. So that means that I don't get the actual wire transfer to go through until some point on Monday, hopefully, right? And that's a long time. You have the rest of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then who knows when on Monday, hopefully it goes through on Monday. So that's a lot of time you got to waste for payments to actually go through. And that's just not the legacy system is built on shit from like 1970s. It's garbage. Right? We understand this, but the CBDC is not like that. Is not going to be a good thing for There's a lot of risks there.
Legislation is where that gets tricky because they'll go on that and they'll say good to go. God. Sam, what a pleasure. You got any closing words for everyone? Remember when I said ICOSA was a honeypot for liquidity providing? That's when the liquidity pool had $30,000 in it. Now it has $277,000 in it, and the price didn't move. So where'd the money go? A lot of that LP action over there in that pool. I didn't even participate in it, but I just knew that was going to occur, and I thought it was a fun little brain experiment. And then all that other stuff happened, and it probably helped that as well. So, Sam, anything about the market? We see Hex, we see Hedron holding strong, up at its floor. There is downside, but like the upside seems to be better, but I don't know. And then we have steady sideways markets, but really bullish, too bullish right now. Like it feels like, why are we still holding at these prices with all this news? What do you think before we go?
I'm excited. The more bearish everybody else is, the more excited I get for being bullish and buying more. I still think we have more fallout to happen with FTX. Personally, I think that we haven't fully uncovered that onion, right? We haven't peeled back all the layers to see how shitty it actually was. And we're going to see some very bad stuff still leak and come out over the next several weeks and or months before that comes out. But I'm here for the long haul. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I think there's so much opportunity here that I'm really looking forward to this stuff moving forward.
Oh, you said no RH content, your title of the stream. Dang, I forgot. It was the Twitter space. I did do RH content. I gave him his praise. We talked about RH for like 20 minutes, and we did a 10-minute video from Jake Goggins highlighting all his wins. And there, guys, have an amazing day. Crypto in the morning, live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you want to support me, please go to the CITM Cast YouTube channel. CITMcast.com has all our links. Just for all the different channels that we run on. And I would like if you went over to the CITM YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and that would be very helpful. Producer Bullish is on his deathbed again. All his kids are sick. What do you got? Anything?
Nope. Check us out on Twitter down below if you like.
Twitter, guys. Twitter. We love Twitter. And guys, everyone's scared. Get your pocketbooks ready. Have a great day.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. GymRatCrypto sent me to show you the way.